this going yesterday?
Huh?
What started this going
I
yesterday?
don't know, what were we talking about yesterday?
I don't know.
Did you tie the ball?
No, I couldn't.
What I should have done is had you take my history.
Yeah.
Well,
No!
just I guess mainly what we should do is just talk about what you did yesterday, where you were born and where you went and when you went to Idaho. Tell us about that.
You weren't even playing with it when you started.
Just start talking. Or what?
Yeah, I think it's on. Is it on, Manuel?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on.
No, it's kind of hard. I don't know where to start.
Where were you born?
I was born in Riverton.
Oh, really? Oh, I see. I figured you were born in Idaho.
No, but then when I was about, let's see how old I was. When I was in the second grade when we came back from there, I guess I was about 7. I guess I was about 3 or 4 when we first moved to Idaho. And then we went to, we had a farm up there. My dad raised thoroughbred cattle.
I do have to pull all this thing away from
And then
me.
we had little ponies and we had little saddles and all to ride. And we used to go out herding the cows and the horses and all out there out in the sagebrush. And we used to play house out there when we was kids. And we'd have to go out every morning real early. And me and Joe usually went. And we couldn't come in after we left. We had to take our lunch and all and stay right out there with the cows and that, so they wouldn't get what they shouldn't. And so we'd do that all day long, and then we'd bring them in for a night. And then we would get them in. And I remember one day we thought it was going to be, we left our water and our lunch. So we decided to ride home. We knew our dad was gone to Soda Springs, so we took our horses, and we each had a little horse, one of those pony-like things, and they had saddles on. And we took them up to the ranch to get the stuff, our lunch and water and that, for the rest of the day, because we'd forgotten it. And my dad hadn't went to Soda Springs at all. He was still home. He'd come there when we got there. And we got holy old heck. We got
Because you forgot your lunches. Well, didn't you go to school?
well, there was no.
You didn't go to school.
So when we, anyway, he really gave us orders, and we really got heck about it for coming in, because the cows and that would get away where they shouldn't have been. And then about another couple of years or so, I think we started school in a one-room schoolhouse.
Here or up there?
Up there. And we'd all go in one room, just one room. It was just a one-room deal. And we would take and go in there and they'd teach the first grade, second grade, whoever was in there. Maybe there'd be 1, maybe there'd be 2. And then they'd give them a lesson. And then they would take the next grade up and we'd go through the whole thing. But when we'd get through with the first and second grades and that, we could go out and play, get out of the way, so the older kids could have their school. So then the older kids would, when they all got through, the whole lineup of them in the one-room schoolhouse, then we would all play together, something, and we'd play for that would be recess.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'd start over at noon, like that.
At lunch, and then you go back and do some more.
Mhm.
How fun. I wonder how they did that.
Then when my dad lost his farm up there, lost the cattle and all that, and they had a drought or something. And anyway, they all died, and we didn't. So we had to move away. We lost everything we had, furniture and all. We didn't have nothing.
Wow.
And so we packed in a car and was coming down to Grandma Page's, and
You had a car?
Yeah, I must have. Or did we come down on the train? I guess it was on the train. I don't know, anyway. And, anyway, we got, down to the neighbors in Soda Springs and my mother, was pregnant and she had Joe on the way coming down.
Or Billy?
I mean Bill. And so us kids had to come with our dad and come down to Grandma Page's and stay, all but May. And May bawled because she couldn't stay with her mother. But I remember the baby being born up there and all that. And then we come to Grandma Page's and we stayed there.
Did Grandma come with you?
No.
Grandma Hattie stayed in Soda Springs?
Yeah. She stayed for a week or so, I think longer. And maybe 2 weeks or so, I don't know how long. And then we lived in Grandma Page's old hired hands house back where they had them. And we lived there for quite a few years. When I come back, I was in the second grade in school, down from Idaho. And then we caught all the diseases there was, chicken pox and measles, all that stuff, and we were sick a lot. And I used to have a ball with earaches all the time.
I should remember that. You're
You're
lucky your hearing's good now.
No, I don't know, my hearing ain't too good. It's getting kind of, I think I got
Don't
wax in
tie
there or
it to
something.
mine. Not with you.
Anyway, we just fooled around that to school and that. I remember going to Grandpa Page's at Christmas time and watching the people. They didn't swipe anything. I kept paid 50 cents a day.
Oh, at his store?
To the store. When Page Hansen had all their toys upstairs.
Which store was that, Uncle Rolly's?
No, Uncle Meredith's right there.
Oh, so it was Uncle Meredith's, that's where Grandpa
But
was.
no, it was Grandpa Page that had
But it was his store, but that's where it was.
And we had,
Was it a general store like, or?
had everything. Hats, shoes, millinery, millinery, shoe shop, and all variety of stores, all together.
Was it like the only store here? I guess then, huh? Probably. Was it the only store here in town?
No, there was, I think there was Lance Spills' meat. And then we lived in the, they quit having Page Hansen come in. All the kids owned stock in it, and they sold out to Meredith. Most of them didn't. What they didn't, he took anyway, so.
So Grandpa Page gave stock in his store to everybody, all of his children. How many kids do you have?
10.
10. So he gave stock to all of them, and then Uncle Meredith ended up with everything, essentially.
I think they had to buy the stock.
What was Uncle Rolly? Is Uncle Rolly a brother of Grandma Hattie's? So he kept his, or he built a store himself then.
No, oh
'Cause
no.
didn't he own that store down there on the corner?
Well, see, he rented that building down there.
Oh, from Meredith?
Meredith kicked him out.
Oh.
And Aunt Cleo had Noel. She was pregnant when they had this big beef about the store. They divided up.
Oh, that was Rolly's.
Rollies and Meredith. And they were the wives were arguing with the men too. And anyway, Aunt Cleo had her baby the next day.
Gosh, it was probably.
And then I went down to Rollies and helped him in the store. And I worked down there I went to work at the box factory before that. When I was about 16 years old, I went to work in the box factory in Salt Lake. And I had a car, and I took passengers. And different ones had to go different places, but I worked in this box factory. And I had to have my curls cut off. I had long curls because if I didn't have them cut off, I couldn't get the job.
Probably because they get stuck in the machinery or something.
Because they get in the machinery. We made chocolate boxes and like that, they'd fold them up and then we'd have them, they'd make them. And our job was to fold them up and cut them and like that. And then we got, anyway, my hair was still quite long, and I was working in the factory there when, anyway, I decided the people that worked in there just talked me into getting a permit. I got a permit and to the school, and it was so curly, I looked like Ace Butterfield's kids.
Whatever Ace Butterfield is.
He lived up on the flat. He had a weather thing. I mean, he could tell you the weather.
I don't remember which Butterfield that is.
But they had all kinky hair like niggers, So they had to comb my hair the opposite way to make it lay down. And the woman had to go get the instructor to come and help her get it. The instructor had, so they could even get a comb through it.
That's too bad.
So, well, my mother and dad got a divorce. I don't know what year it was or that, but I think I was about 10 maybe. And then he married Alice Bills, and they moved to California. And they used to send, the first year they got married, she sent all of us kids doll clothes and handmade doll clothes and all that. My mother boxed them up and sent them back to her. And we would take when we'd get the parcel, us kids would get into it and we'd dig holes in it and feel it and see what was in it. And then we'd tell each other what we felt in it. Without opening it up, we'd just make a hole.
Did she ever let you keep anything, or did she ever let you keep anything, or did she always say?
Oh no, she didn't say nothing about it, And anyway, we used to do that. But I worked for Rolly Page for quite a few years. I can't remember how many. And we.
You went to work for him after the box factory?
Remember, yours hasn't aged.
So I was older then. But when my dad died, I was in the 8th grade. He died with the teacups. He had an operation, rupture I think it was, and he got the teacups and they couldn't stop him.
Until he died.
My dad was real young when he died, about 40 or something like that, maybe. And then my brother Joe got killed in a beet field at 18.
How old were you? You were older. You were 20, right?
Yeah.
Because you were a couple years older.
And but he got the pitchfork went up above his eye, went up to pierced his brain. And then we used to make, my mother had bought this little stand off from Uncle Gwen, and because we never had no means of support or anything. My mother when we lived there by Page Hanson's, in the Page Hanson store part there, she made a pie shop and a candy shop. We used to make candy and pies before she had that other shop.
Oh, and who did you guys all work there with her, or just her?
But no, we lived in the back of in that Page Hanson thing. And that was before the fracas, and, before they got, Uncle Meredith got up this control of it. And then she got it into this little stand, and then she kept building on, and she had Mr. Foreman used to work for Grandpa Page, and he used to come down to our place and get his food down there. And we used to wait till I don't know how he ever stood it. He'd wait till he could, we'd come there to get his dinner, and we'd wait till we saw him coming, and then we'd make him a pot of tea, and mostly all those little oil sardines. Yeah, I don't know how he lived through it. But he was helping my mother out, I think.
Yuck.
Well, when we got into the shop and was for quite a few years and that, we used to make homemade ice cream. My mother used to sell them 2 ice cream cones for a nickel.
Wow.
And we used to have this great big ice cream machine, 10-gallon, and it had the wheels on, or those flywheels on it or something, And we'd first we started out and was making it. We had to turn it all the time. But somebody had to chip the ice, and somebody had to put it in and like that into the thing. Then we'd somebody'd turn it. But then Mr. Foreman fixed this up, this electric, put it on electric with some belts.
Neat.
So the belts